Are we giving her that much latitude?
What does young lady range for you?
I didn't mean. I think young lady means polite.
Do you want me to say this ratchet girl?
Yes.
Is that okay? Okay, this ratchet girl.
I don't think it's fair to put a label on.
Yeah, I do.
Right.
Welcome to the DANK Pod, the podcast where 4 Disney adults and no kids share their magical adventures. Join us as we explore the enchanting parks, savor Mickey-shaped treats, and ride Space Mountain without worrying about height restrictions. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, send them to us at thedankpod@gmail.com. Disclaimer: this podcast is purely for entertainment purposes. We love kids, but sometimes we just want to ride the teacups without them. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get dank.
I'm ready for the spooky season because we went and saw a scary movie on October 1st, and you'll never believe what happened to us walking in.
OMG.
You ran into Donald Duck.
No, it might have been
Chip or Dale.
Did you run over a squirrel?
So we're walking into the theater, and we're like, oh, look at the squirrel, right?
I used to have a flying squirrel.
And he's following us from the parking garage. And then he's running really fast to catch up with us. And he followed us all the way into the door.
Into the movie theater?
Yes, to the movie theater. And then we think we lost him. Okay, we go in, we scan our ticket. Natalie had to go back to the car for whatever. Somebody let the squirrel in the theater.
Oh no.
What was this is the thing. Are you ready? Despite the fact that he wasn't supposed to be walking towards us because that's not normal squirrel behavior, I still was going to pet him. But then I noticed that his little mouth, I kid you not, it was red. Like, I don't know what he bit. It didn't feel right. I was like, no. He's a zombie and we need to get out of here.
It was a little scary.
So,
why are you touching? Natalie, in standing rule of Florida, don't pet the wildlife.
But
especially now they got blood dripping from their mouth.
I actually saw somebody. Yeah, I saw somebody pet him.
Mouth, so I can't comment.
So yeah, speaking of horror movies, have you seen that one about the witch on Disney Plus? Agatha All Along.
Wait, did you watch Inside Out?
I did.
Did you both watch it?
Did you watch Agatha All Along?
Was I supposed to?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this has been
that wasn't our homework.
This has been on our list for 2 weeks.
Are you lying?
This is how I know you don't read the list. It's actually number 1 on the list.
On the list?
If you scroll all the way up to the top, it's on our list. Number 1.
Well, you know what?
Agatha All Along.
First off, I don't.
I know. And she went past this goalie.
But that's not fair.
Honey, if you want fair, go to 17th and Chew. That's the intersection of the Great Allentown Fair. My grandmother, when I was a kid, if I said, that's not fair, she would say, if you want fair, you go to 17th and Chew.
That's in New York?
Pennsylvania. In Allentown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Agatha All Along series that you haven't watched, ma'ams, is a spinoff from Marvel, the Marvel Universe. Specifically, Ash, what's that witchy show?
The Scarlet Witch.
The Scarlet Witch. You know, I thought it was going to be kind of mildly shitty for the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
But
how did you arrive at that conclusion?
I just thought it was like a shitty character to base a show on, to spin off on. I don't think that anybody had it on their bingo ticket that would be the character to spin off. And
I mean, Catherine Hahn's a badass.
Yeah.
I would bet on her every time.
It has been highly encouraged you to watch it. You may or may not be in love with it. It's got music. I love that one. Down the Witch's Road it's a good, you know what it is?
So they actually performed. They did harmonize very well. They actually performed that at D23, which I didn't realize at the time was for this show.
Yeah. I definitely have some show theories in my head already. I'm not going to share them because you haven't watched them, but
I like how it's for the spooky season, the witches.
It is. I think that's I think it flows real nice where they did time it really nicely. Now we can move on to the part that Natalie was so
excited about,
gung-ho about. She's so excited about it. She was like, forget the shit that we had planned for 2 weeks. Let's talk about the one we had planned for this last one.
Yeah.
Let's review Inside Out 2. I hate feelings, so I hated this film.
Did you hate the first one?
What's that? No, I didn't hate the first one.
So
I want to know about what Natalie thought about it.
So I want to know, I have a question because The first one was also about feelings. So what is it about this one that you didn't like?
I would like to know what you feel about this movie.
But
You could barely contain yourself. You were bubbling over with joy
I
to get to
know.
this, Natalie.
Yeah, I wanted to hear your review.
I want to hear your
And
review,
here we
Natalie.
are.
I'm here for you,
I've
Natalie.
seen
What's
it.
your
Paper,
review?
scissors,
Give
go.
me your review. Natalie, I can't see what you're putting up.
I'm waiting for you.
Natalie put up paper. I put up scissors.
No.
Spirit fingers.
I love it. Okay. I'm not going first. It's got to be
Oh
you.
no, Natalie.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
have to go first.
Whoa.
I'm gonna edit it till you go first.
Oh my God. All right. So we actually saw it in theaters because one of the things I enjoy doing is spending time with my nephew. And so
the
I like to take him
kids.
to, I know, but these are the ones that you can give back. So these are even better.
Yeah, the loner.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the new characters. I like how they incorporate, I guess, what are they? The alphas, whatever, stuck to the screen, super emo. Like, it was good to see on screen, and I really enjoyed Anxiety.
Did you enjoy Anxiety because you relate to anxiety?
I kind of wanted to choke her out a little bit. Them, I don't even know, but just the craziness. They wanted to have everything under control, and they just kept making it worse and worse. But overall, I really did enjoy it. She's like exploring new emotions that she's never felt before, and like I don't think I was anxious as a kid. I can't ever say, like, I know people that have watched it and have been like, oh, that's what I felt, and I can't say that I was an anxious kid. Like, I really didn't.
How about as an adult? Are you anxious as an adult?
I really like what they did with embarrassment. I felt like the character of embarrassment really embodies sometimes what you feel. I feel like when I was 13, my sense of embarrassment was certainly heightened. I was embarrassed
Okay.
for my parents.
You're embarrassed for your parents or because of your parents?
Both.
Oh, like you felt you were an
I'm
embarrassing
just like,
child?
no, Jonathan.
I don't understand. I'm embarrassed for them for having me, and they have to be seen in public with me at all
Embarrassed
times.
by-
I mean, like if somebody cracks a dad joke, like when you're 13, that's
Oh.
embarrassing.
Is that what I did to my daughter her whole life? I just embarrassed her
No.
with my dad jokes.
She's staying out of
We got- Yeah, we have a whole bunch of jokes about retired people. None of them work.
I can't.
Natalie, do you have adult anxiety or adult depression?
I don't believe I do. I believe I was at one point definitely depressed, but it wasn't adulthood. It was teenage life when,
Yeah.
my mom took away my life. It was a whole thing. But, I
Ooh.
powered through. It was more like a sad time. And then
You
My life
disrupted
back.
it. You
Yeah,
you
for sure.
disrupted that pattern and got away from it. Do you feel as though a movie like this as a child would have helped you better understand your feelings?
I completely understood my feelings.
you were in
No.
tune.
Yeah, but for sure, I do think a lot of people would benefit. Again, like I've had several friends share, oh my gosh, like that's what I was feeling. And they didn't know, their parents weren't having those conversations and trying to understand and helping them be open. And it's unfortunate that it's the reality. And I think that it's such a good film that exists to open up those lines of communication, or at least the kid knows that they're not alone. This is other people are feeling what you're feeling.
Yeah. I don't know if when I was a teenager, if I would have understood a lot of what this movie has to offer. It would have been over my head a little bit. Even right now, I don't understand ennui. Like, I don't know.
Boredom?
Is that what it is? It's just boredom? Or
Pretty much boredom.
Yeah.
Like nonchalance, boredom, like can't be bothered.
I'm not
No
that
big
way.
deal.
I don't relate to that.
Yeah.
If I have uninterest in my head rolling around, he is the most bored emotion that I have because there's nothing for him to do. I'm never not interested.
Okay.
I think that's not the vibe I'm giving off
Ennui
most of the
is
time.
definitely my favorite. It's just so funny to me.
I can see that.
And I appreciate that they introduced envy, because I think a lot of people confuse jealousy,
Mhm.
which, people will be like, oh, I love your shoes. I'm so jelly. You're not actually
Mhm.
jealous. You're actually envious. So I think that it was an important distinction for them to bring out envy. Because a
Mhm.
lot not
I thought it was
supposed to feel
interesting.
it, but
I
people
mean,
regularly feel it.
envy is the feeling of wanting what someone else has. So like if you have a Corvette and I want the Corvette, I can be envious of your Corvette. I envy what you have.
Well, I'm saying
Right?
some people would have a hang up to admit that they're envious.
Would struggle with that. The jealousy aspect is a sense of being vengeful, like wanting some sort of to take some sort of action, or to even just to be like apprehensive towards another person. So like I might be jealous of Ashley talking to another man for fear that I would be apprehensive of her trying to replace me. But and that might be something, and I think it's a subtle difference. And you're right. I do think people conflate those things like all the time.
Envy gets a really bad rap. So I thought it was really cool that the character is in there. She's very likable. She's so sweet. Is she not? Like, she's adorable.
Yeah. And envy is, I think it was an understated character in the film, though. It seemed to focus more on it, as it always does. So those core emotions, and then right back on to anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of children, I can only imagine what it's like growing up now, where your embarrassing moments live forever online.
I mean, their parents' embarrassing moments are generated online today. I think we got a generation of adults who don't understand that things last forever, and that their kids are going to grow up and look back at the things that they posted, and that's going to be the source of embarrassment later.
Yeah.
Also, the kids don't have these choices. We didn't have the choices either to go. You didn't have the choice to have a Facebook page when you were a preteen. It didn't exist at that time, or maybe it was in its ground stages, right? But your parents were probably like, no, but for a different reason, right? It wasn't because they were trying to safeguard you against what was out there. It was just, we don't feel like paying for internet service, so that way you can have Facebook. We're gonna get the encyclopedia. That's what we'll get. Times have changed, right?
The whole set.
Did you have like X was combined with Q?
Yeah.
There's nothing to say anything about X. Nothing happened in X zone.
I had one letter.
You had what letter?
What letter
You just had one letter?
Did you really have one?
I'm just kidding.
I was about to believe you.
You were like, dang, we grew up so poor. We had the whole classroom had just got one letter, and we traded once a month. I felt the movie went the structure of the movie follows that 3-act story structure, which is very traditional. It's that everything starts off swell. You have a pain point, a pinch point where things get a little awkward and hard. And then you have that jump from act 2 to 3, that navigation into that transitional space where things are all right with the world again. And then we have a happy for now ending. I think that it was too closely mated to the previous film, where it was, we're kicked out of the console and now you have to get all the way across this lady's brain and get back. So the same thing with this. We have to make this journey, this trek, and get back.
I like the imagery of this one, though. They were literally bottled up.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was cool to see it actually happen.
The sarcasm
in the movie.
I enjoyed the sarcasm.
What was it? The sarcasm.
Yes.
It was so funny.
I love sarcasm.
And then going into I think the most poignant moment was when anxiety, the more and there's a hockey term that I want to lean on here, is you're gripping the stick too tight. And it just means like, hey, if you're really trying to force a shot in there, it's going to go sideways, and you just really got to let it flow. So don't grip that stick too tight. And that seemed to be what anxiety was going through, just trying to set up all these mechanisms of control in order to steer and use data and spreadsheets to steer the outcome of it. what ends up happening is everything goes haywire, crazy. And I think the way they depicted it on screen was emotionally overwhelming for me. And as a result, I hate this movie.
I mean,
So you hated it because you related to it.
Nobody makes me feel my own feelings.
like, I mean,
Oh, I love it.
but that's what's really cool about movies, like, you know, with the imagery, with how they write the script, with the music that they play, like it really does make you feel something. So I think, you know, if it can make a grown man feel feelings, like this is, you know, a good tool for everyone.
I think some of the hard parts here for human beings in general are that the parts of the brain that are capable of speech aren't connected to the parts of the brain that handle emotion. So it's very hard for human beings to say, like here's how I feel. I need to put words to these emotions, and that makes things a little more difficult to work with. We had spoken a little bit about this in a couple different scenarios, but we still have that deep dark secret to talk about.
What's in the vault?
Did you watch it all the way at the end? What's in the vault?
I saw everything. I saw everything there is to see.
So wait, do you?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Tell our listeners. Both of them.
What do you think is inferred with the secret in the vault?
What do you think is what I'm interested in?
January made her a lesbian. I'll say it.
I don't know. Like sometimes the way that Riley was looking at the friend that she wanted to make seemed a little romantic, but
there was definitely
we're
lust
adults
in
and
her
we
eyes.
bring our experiences to it. Children aren't thinking like that.
Yeah, no, correct. But it was subtle. The sweater, her favorite shirt, was definitely family values, right? It gave off that vibe, the idea that she's playing hockey. Never have I ever seen a competitive women's hockey league. Not that there isn't, but yeah, I went to high school in a very populous school
really
district.
big in San Francisco where she lives.
Is it?
She actually moved from Michigan. I don't know if you guys forgot about that.
She's in a league
was it
in
Wisconsin?
San Francisco.
Wisconsin.
No,
it's from up there, from the
JK. The Wisconsiners, JK, Michiganers. Everybody keep calm. JK.
So she wasn't even in high school at the time. She was in middle school.
She's 13 in this movie.
Yeah. So like, how many high schools have a hockey team? And then on top of that, how many have a women's hockey team?
I never went to school in the North, so I don't think I could answer your questions.
Definitely the wrong audience.
My high school had a hockey team, but it was like a separately funded hockey team. It wasn't funded by the district.
I feel like it sounds like a serious liability, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not. If you're not careful, you can run over somebody's fingers and chop them off. You can't do that in football. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, brain injuries that injure you for the.
You can have that in both.
Yeah. You can have
the difference is one can chop off my fingers and the other one cannot.
I think the big thing here is facilities for the schools.
That's true.
So your soccer pitch is the same as your football field. It can double as your baseball diamond in some places as well. They're expanses of land with lines painted on them for the most part. The technology isn't there for ice. So one area might have an ice arena in a region, and now you have to schedule ice time for your team to practice, and you have to schedule games and all sorts of stuff. And those things aren't as abundant. Like nobody's, not nobody, but I mean, this isn't Canada where the streets are paved in ice. Natalie, say Canada for us in Espanol.
Canada.
Thank you. I didn't know there was an I in there. I love being us. But taking it back, I do see the connections for her to be a lesbian, and I don't know that this is the first representation. I think we've spoken about what we perceive as being the initial homosexual relationship in the Disney family and Disney archives as being Timon and Pumbaa.
What?
Why can't they just be besties?
Two single men living together, raising a child. They're gay.
Wow. They didn't.
My dad had a friend.
Did he find you?
My dad? I think it's dead.
Like how Timon and
I
Pumbaa
know.
found Simba in the middle of the desert.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I mean, he found me in deserted ovaries.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what he said when he saw her naked. But yeah, it's I think so. When I was a kid, I used to look at it that way. I wasn't mature enough to put two and two together that, hey, my dad's friend who lives with him, but they only have a 1-bedroom. I don't understand what's going on, right? Or, yeah. And then when he did come out to me, it was a very interesting journey at that point. I was
You
13
were 13, like Riley.
and he said, you're going to meet my fiance. There's an 8x10 framed picture of my fiance on the end table in the living room. Go out and get it. So I went out and got it and came back in. It's a picture of a woman, of course. And you know what he said to me? That's my hairdresser.
Why did he have a picture of his hairdresser so big?
I don't know,
It's a
but in
very
my
large
mind, he was still
portrait.
straight. It's a very large portrait of his
Yeah.
hairdresser. That should have been a red flag. We did this.
Ah.
I brought a couple more pictures of women into the room, and he, you know, I forget who they all were, but then I was like, Dad, the only one out there is a dude, and he was like, that's the one. That's the one. But yeah. So anyway, Timon and Pumbaa, first gay couple there, and so we see some here and there. There's also Buzz Lightyear or Lightyear.
Yeah,
we see
Lightyear
some.
was so good.
I thought that was a very good film. I think we spoke a little bit about this. What's the French boy's name from the live action Beauty and the Beast, played by Josh Gad? Ash? LeFou. Wasn't there a scene that implied sexual
Orientation?
Yeah. Ash?
Yes. I thought it was a very realistic, perspective, having been a 13-year-old girl once upon a time myself, right?
You were a 13-year-old girl?
13-year-old girl?
Yeah.
Get
You
the
two are
fuck
the
outta
same
here.
person, and that was
Right?
really
Yeah.
weird for me.
That's right.
But also as someone who does suffer from anxiety, I teared up a little bit. It seemed realistic. I thought the perspective of anxiety taking the helm, right, as a leader, as a replacement for joy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, we're going to plan. We're going to figure this out. We're going to make all these moves. Initially, it seemed like a very proactive, positive change, right? Not that joy, in a sense that joy was being replaced and that was sad, but not for the worse, right? And so you feel that way throughout at least probably half the movie before you see the detriment that anxiety can cause a human.
Mm.
Because she was looking out for Riley, or they were looking out for Riley. Anxiety was looking out for Riley and trying to prepare Riley, for what was coming and try to do this damage control in advance. And it just seemed like a snowball, right? There was never a downtime for anxiety, and that is extremely real. And then when you hit that overwhelmed phase, that can't compute, that everything pauses and freezes and you can't breathe, you can't think, you can't process. It's very, very, very real.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was a very well done explanation of how anxiety can take over as something as even like a trauma response, right? So arguably Riley was hit with some really devastating news in that car.
Yeah.
Her
Like
friends
her
were
whole
leaving her. She was
foundation.
a huge chunk of
Security.
her foundation. Right. So I mean, anxiety can very much be a trauma response. Jonathan was talking about not maybe really recognizing those emotions as a 13-year-old boy, but as a 13-year-old girl, like 100%, eldest daughter syndrome. I defaulted to learn everyone else's emotions and to prepare for those, so that I could buffer, so that I could adapt, so that I could make things easier for other people.
Yeah, I definitely.
So it was very well done. I thought it was interesting that anxiety wasn't the bad guy. For like half of the movie, you thought, oh, well,
she's helping.
Planning makes sense. Right. And how, you guys were talking about envy and how anxiety can feed off of envy. Whereas with joy, right? Joy was the central point and she took feedback from the others, but they all looked to her for answers. Well, what are we going to do? What's the next step, Joy? What do we do? But with anxiety was taking all of this information from the other emotions to make more plans, to try to create a plan, to make a move.
I didn't even realize
Yeah.
It made me really sad
That's all I got.
when Joy said that she didn't know how to stop anxiety. Yeah.
That's
But when she's like, maybe this is what happens when you grow up, you just feel less joy. And I was just like,
I mean,
Do you go
so
through? Do you guys
sympathize
go
with
through that? Are you?
Yeah.
Do you feel less joy?
When you're, it's like an avalanche.
yeah, I mean,
A panic attack, forget it, bro.
I
Like
feel like because
there's
your
no
hormones are
breathing.
kicking in, you got those mood swings. Like, of course, like joy is not going to be the most prevalent one.
I mean, not even that. 18, 19, 20, my anxiety was high. My thyroid was a mess, which again impacts hormones.
Yeah.
And the panic attacks were crippling. There was no sleep. There was no rest.
Yeah.
Your brain doesn't stop. You can't breathe. In the middle of an attack, you can't breathe. You can't calm down. Whole body hurts. I mean,
I can relate to being anxious, but like I can't.
Debilitating.
Not debilitating. I'm very, I think at this point in command of emotions. Not anger.
Well, that's why you get frustrated. Like, so when I get mad, I cry, and he gets so mad about it. But it's really just this buildup of emotions. My body doesn't know how to process, the intense emotion that I'm feeling in that moment, and it's just boiled over. It's literally boiled over, and it comes out in the form of tears. And it could just be, it could be 2 minutes, it could be 2 hours, but when I'm done, and I'll be fine.
I'm not mad that she's upset. I'm mad that she's crying and won't tell me why she's crying so that I can kill whatever's made her cry.
You move right into problem solving.
I mean, you don't want
me. You literally just said it.
Don't mansplain.
That's problem solving.
No, like I think essentially I want to know what's making her sad. And if she's not willing to tell me what's making her sad,
it's not just sadness.
That's because then she does it right in my face, not like here, but she'll like walk into the room that I'm sitting in and like cry, and I'm like, tell me what's making you cry? What's got you upset?
It's a way that she regulates. It's a soothing behavior to her. She knows that after this behavior, she's gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm. Great, go cry in the fucking shower like an adult so nobody sees you.
Yeah.
That's how we do it around here.
Wow. Okay, so
don't bring it out.
Sad was not safe in your house, apparently.
No,
I could see. I see your trauma.
In my
intense emotions,
very apparent.
Anyone.
Sir. The only
intense emotions by anyone without a penis in this house is not allowed.
Yeah, exactly. Get to the shower. If you want to do it outside, wait till it's raining,
so nobody can tell.
Blend in. It's camouflage. But yeah, no. I think the big part is like. Some of it is I want to know it's not me making you cry. And if it is, we got to course correct it. But if somebody else made you cry, who hurt you so bad that they made you cry like that? And I want to fucking know. And it would be the same, like, it'd be the same for many people who are close to me. If I walked in and Natalie was in tears, I would be like, tell me. Point them out.
Honestly, though, you just feel so much better after a cry, though.
Yeah. You also feel cleaner because you've done it in the shower where no one can see you, or you're screamed into your pillow. Save your emotions for later. Anyway, this is why this is why I hate this movie, because now we're having this whole conversation about emotions. Terrible movie. I don't recommend that people go see it if they want to avoid emotions.
I love it.
It's great.
I wish they had it when I was a kid. Like, because I felt like I was just angry all the time. It would have just made me feel better knowing I'm not the only one going through this crazy cycle of different emotions taking over.
Speaking of anger, was there an angry mom hanging out at Disneyland?
What? Nah, she didn't. She wasn't hanging out angry. She was taken away angry. Yes. So last week, a young lady was ejected from Disneyland Anaheim.
Are we giving her that much latitude?
What does young lady range for you?
I think young lady means polite.
Do you want me to say this ratchet girl?
Yes.
Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. This ratchet girl.
I don't think it's fair to put a label on.
Yeah.
She's a mom of 2, okay? She's a mother of 2 children. Her 6 years old.
You know,
We're 6 years old.
do we have a soul?
No, she doesn't have. She's cold-hearted.
She was actually ejected for sneaking in her kids.
How'd she sneak them in? Like in a pocket? What do you mean?
So she got her own tickets, and allegedly she tried to sneak them in as 2-year-olds. The thing is, it's not the first attempt. She's been caught doing this before. Dun, dun, dun.
That's like theft of service.
So, if I'm not mistaken, and the reason I believe most of the story is because TMZ is reporting on it, and those guys really don't fuck around. You know what I mean? Like, they're reporters, yeah, and they like the clicks, but for the most, they tend to do some of their homework. So, I mean, but I think the point that I was trying to make was I've seen videos of a mom in California at Disneyland who posted the videos of her sneaking in her older age kids into Disneyland.
She's like,
Then that's like evidence for the Mouse House, right? And like, here's the thing: when this broke the socials last week, all of the cast members chimed in. Any cast member, current or otherwise, that has a social media platform was saying how you don't get arrested at Disney. They don't do the perp walk for just anything.
Oh.
They're like, you could steal from Disney and they'll take you in a back room and talk to you and maybe walk you out from there. But they don't slap cuffs. They don't bring in PD, slap cuffs on you and walk you through the park.
Unless
unless you refuse
you
to
get
leave the
you
park.
get wild.
Yeah.
If you get wild verbally
Mhm.
or physically, or some combination of that and like refusal. So she's claiming in this article that she bought tickets for herself and her kids, and that the park
Mhm.
attendant took the tickets and her phone. But if that's the case, why?
it's so easy to prove.
That's a lawsuit. You know what I mean? Now, if she bought a fake ticket or bought an inappropriate ticket, but I mean, a child ticket is almost the same cost as an adult one.
It's a child ticket doesn't start till like 13, or an adult ticket's like 13 and up, and it's like a $2 difference.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a $10 difference. So if she bought a child ticket, then it would be valid. And it's just a crazy story. The videos are really intense, and you got to feel for the kids because
It's
they're,
scary.
coherent and cognitive
know
enough
what's
to
going on.
realize that something bad is happening to mommy.
Oh,
But if this is what she did, I mean, it's not Disney posting the videos.
Apparently,
Disney
it was
didn't
the
blast
fourth
her.
attempt in 2 months.
Yeah, it was allegedly her. I didn't know that it was within 2 months, but I knew it was a short amount of time.
So they definitely.
Yeah. And my guess is that she got a little wild. You're not going to touch me. I'm not leaving. I'm allowed to be here. Who are you to tell me how old my kids are? Like, that's what I'm imagining the conversation went like.
In the Facebook groups, they talk about like, what do you do? My kids. So if the way the rule is written, you're free until you're 3. And if you are on vacation for your 3rd birthday and your tickets, like let's say you're coming, your family's coming, they're staying on property, and day 1 of your visit, you're 2 years old, even if your birthday occurs during your visit. So but they also will share, like they just ask if your kid is, and Disney anticipates this, I'm sure. They're going to ask you at the gate, hey, how old's your kid? If you say 3, they're going to say buy a ticket. If you say 2, they're going to say, okay, thanks. But also anticipate being asked over and over again.
Mhm.
If you got a giant kid in our family, we're going to get asked.
No, they would ask her. But if this is the mom that, again, I was mentioning the video of sneaking the kids in the stroller, would hide one kid in the underneath basket, fully hidden under a blanket. And then the other one was actively in the stroller, blankets up to her chin with a bottle in her mouth. So it wasn't even that they were trying to mask the kid as close to 2. They were trying to hide one entirely.
I don't know. Why are you hiding a child?
Because it's expensive.
That's a little scary.
It's $100 per.
Well, I mean, what are you teaching your kids? So if that's what's happening, like, what are you teaching your kids first and foremost? But, second of all, like Jonathan said, like, you have to be prepared to get asked about it. And these are not small kids, like looking at the pictures in the video. I mean, it's questionable that there's no way. So there's no way to mistake them for two, even as a tall 2-year-old. Like our niece was very, very, very tall. Her whole 100 percentile for height the whole time.
You can just take a photo of it and just be like, hey, here's what we've got. Let's step outside the berm for a little bit. We're in a time of Halloween, aka pre-Christmas, and it looks like Halloween is already winding down because locally, Howl-O-Scream tickets and packages are 60% off. Either that or it comes with free hepatitis, apparently.
Howl-O-Scream is Tampa?
It is
Sorry,
SeaWorld.
SeaWorld.
Yeah, you're forgiven. You're forgiven.
What is the Tampa
But like,
one?
it looks like wildly inexpensive
Yeah.
for these things. SeaWorld single night ticket, $49.99. Brave one visit for select nights, and it's like I mean, how shitty is your event that you have to discount it 60% to get people to come?
Howl-O-Scream?
Well, you're so brutal. Why are you so savage?
I am brutal. I'm not a Halloween fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a 2-park version. You get 2 parks. Yeah, as well. Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay, and one visit to SeaWorld Orlando for $82.99. Unlimited admission.
Since it's so affordable, maybe one year we should try it.
I'm definitely going to pass on Howl-O-Scream.
On Howl-O-Scream?
He's like, he's absolutely not doing anything scary twice.
Yeah, no, man. But I'm ready for Christmas. That's all I can say. I cannot wait for Christmas in the Magic Kingdom and Disney World.
One of their scare zones
about
is
that
called Carnal Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Evil.
Oof, yuck.
Toxic.
I'm happy to pass on them.
You get to ride the roller coasters.
That's the one thing they do have is roller coasters that are like decent. Don't they have like, is it the Manta Ray or something like that?
Quite a few.
They're supposed to be like really well rated.
The Pipeline.
That's a new one. Pipeline.
And Mako.
And I think they're Mako is the one I'm thinking of as being that like lay flat one. These might be, if they're, I don't know do you know who the producer of these roller coasters are? If it's like Intamin?
I'm not up on my engineers. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I like Intamin coasters overall. I just feel like they're a much better ride. They flow a little smoother. I think they last a little bit longer. And then they have it. It's just a much better experience. It looks like Intamin is producing some rides for SeaWorld. I'm just not entirely sure which ones.
So my initial Google search from AI says Bolliger and Malballard, B&M.
Okay.
And then Premier Rides. Premier Rides did Icebreaker.
Ooh.
But B&M for Pipeline, Kraken, and Penguin Trek.
Who did Mako?
I don't know. That's what AI says to me.
If I had enough money to purchase a roller coaster, I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to Intamin.
I mean, a VIP tour at Howl-O-Scream for 2 tickets. Oh no! You get your own tour guide.
How much?
$299.99
for 2 people, or for one
each?
Each, but you still get your own tour guide.
No, it says admission for your group of 2 or more. But then it says $299 each.
We pay for Express Pass for HHN.
This year was like $150 a pop.
You get private VIP tour guide. You get front of the line access to the haunted houses and the rides. You have your own VIP lounge with complimentary snacks.
That would be really expensive for Universal.
Priority access to the bars, dinner at one of their available restaurants, and then reserved seating at their shows, and preferred parking subject to availability.
Oof.
I mean, got me with the complimentary beer and wine.
That's true. You got to take advantage when it's.
They got to sucker you in somehow.
I mean, so it says the RAP tour starts at $329 per person, but I feel like that's a scam. I'm pretty sure it's more than that for Universal.
There are some. You know what I'd like to do? I would like to do the barge or like the floating fireworks display
based on date,
in Seven Seas
actually.
Lagoon. Mm.
Sorry, what
The fireworks display. There's like a boat ride for the fireworks show in Seven Seas Lagoon that comes with snacks and some drinks while you're out there. And I think it's extremely affordable if you fill enough of the seats out.
What are you talking about? Where is this?
This is at Disney World.
You know?
Yeah, he went completely.
Yeah, we were talking about group packages.
Okay.
I see where you
Aligned
went with it, but
Yeah.
I knew that the
Yeah.
other two hadn't come.
How many are allowed in the group?
I think it's probably around 10 or so.
Okay. 10.
But
We can do that. We can get
it's
10
like-
easy.
it's like it becomes way more affordable based on the head count.
2. 10 is easy.
Yeah, 10 is easy. 10 is just 4 of us right here. That's what
And
I'm
then-
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard what you were gonna say. Yeah, I heard the other AJ, the other bounty, the other AJ takes us to 6. I don't know. Fuck that. We're done with this. Let's move it on. Ashley, what else is going on in Orlando outside of the berm?
So this past weekend was the second adventure that has become the happiest market. So we talked about this last month.
We didn't get to visit.
Yeah, we were tied up this.
Imagine
weekend
that
to
you're
do
not
it.
completing your homework assignments.
Wow.
You were supposed to go without me, sir.
Spicy.
Ooh,
You
look
were
at
going to meet
that.
them and go without me because I had other plans.
Oh yeah,
but like
there's
also
a hurricane.
there was a whole hurricane, right?
That's
So-
true.
In Florida.
You've been saved by the storm.
So the videos that circulated the socials it seemed really fun. It seemed a little bigger, and they have announced the next happiest market, which they are calling the Market Before Christmas. It will be Saturday, October 26th from 12 to 4 p.m. It's at Ivanhoe Park Brewing Co., which I think is where it was this past time, but I could be incorrect.
I looked at their website. I think they're all at that.
Oh, I thought it was at a different one the first time, but I could be mistaken.
I could be mistaken too. I'm known to not be perfect.
It just seems like independent, small business type things. And I think our last discussion was like, how long is Disney going to let this go on? But I don't know, man. Maybe they have licenses.
No,
I'm
you
all
look at
about
the
supporting a
crafts.
small
How
business.
do people get away with selling like their handmade stuff on Etsy? Like, does it fall under the same umbrella?
I mean, a lot of them don't.
Oh, okay.
A lot of them don't. Like, people get slapped with
cease and
hey,
desist, or they get shut down eventually. You can play the game for as long as you want, but if they're facilitating the sale of those products, eventually they'll get popped for it. And then the other thing is, if you're a pass holder, you're agreeing to not do those types of things. And so then they'll just take your pass from you and ban you from the.
Like one vendor legit was selling cookies, like Disney whatever cookies, but the packaging was the Munchlings, which I know is very specific. But it was like very nice packaging. I don't know how they got their hands on it if they're not licensed.
I mean, you can make anything.
I mean, maybe,
Imagine
but
they
it
have
seems it's
licenses.
right.
Do you know how much the licenses cost? A ton of money.
Yeah.
Like you have to pay for those.
I mean, a lot of it
licensing
was
rights.
like knockoff ears
Yeah.
and very character specific
bags.
earrings and hair clips. Yeah, bags
Yeah.
and dresses and stuff like that. So I don't know, but man, it looks interesting. I'd like to check it out.
Disney's very specific about things as well. Placement of characters. So when I worked in the outdoor sports industry, we had contracts and licensing with Disney for certain products, and you could not put Princess's face in certain parts of, let's say, a bicycle. Couldn't be on the seat. It couldn't be on the grips. It had to be in other parts of the bike. You can't sit on Elsa's face as much as you want to.
Wow, they're very protective.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
Disney is very protective.
Yeah.
So it's curious that it's happening. This is now going to be the third one right under their noses. I don't know.
Eventually things will catch up, and God forbid you're with a
And it's like, but like it's being heavily advertised. Like it's on Eventbrite, which is not a small.
it's surprising. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty well known.
And that's why I don't, I'm not crossing into that space.
Oh, so we're not going.
I know I would go. I would go look at it.
We'll go. We'll
but
look.
like I'm not going to sell.
Can't catch me.
I'm not going to sell my trinkets, my little devices. It's so for a couple of reasons. One, I'd rather give them away. You know what I mean? Like it's just more fun to
People
pixie dust
really
a cast
happy.
member. Correct. As opposed to, exposing myself in that way, at least. Perfect. It looks like we're winding down here. Natalie, do you have a rapid fire for us?
I did have one, but I changed it.
Classic
We're-
Natalie.
We're doing it.
No, ma'am.
Jonathan's had enough emotions.
I've had enough
today.
emotions. Take us back to your rapid fire question.
That's what it is.
No,
Accept
ma'am.
it.
I'm
I
unacceptable.
believe in you.
It's been fun tonight. Thank you guys very much for joining us.
Wow. Rapid fire shutdown.
Rapid fire shutdown. Just put it on the card for next week. If
I'm going to put it on the card right now.
yeah. So what's your rapid fire this week, though, Natalie?
Oh.
It's had me thinking about a rapid fire question for.
Okay. Who's your favorite Disney sidekick?
My favorite Disney sidekick?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, that's a fantastic question. I'm going with Olaf.
I love
Solid.
Olaf.
Why Olaf?
I think Olaf is naive he's naive enough to. He's a reminder that anybody can survive,
Mhm.
even just being kind and naive. Right? You may
Melt in the
get
sun,
some. Yeah,
but it's gonna be
yeah.
okay.
You're gonna hit some hard times. You're gonna be okay. Yeah, there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. And you don't have to be a dick about it.
It's true.
You can be kind and loving and naive. Who's on deck? Who's up next?
Ooh, I like it. Okay.
I'm torn.
Natalie's busy typing on next week's.
January. I am going to.
I think the most entertaining is Genie, but I really like Mushu from Mulan,
Ooh.
and
That's a good one. Is that
Mushu,
Eddie
the
Murphy?
dragon that doesn't have wings, by the
Yeah.
way.
Is that Eddie Murphy?
and then Hey
I
Hey
said that.
the
I said maybe
rooster.
one of those dragons. I love it. Who's the voice of Hey Hey?
I don't even know.
The guy, the pirate
The
from
guy.
Dodgeball. Oh, he does a lot of voices too.
I want to say Stanley Tucci, but I know it's 1,000% wrong. Isn't he the guy that plays Vision?
No,
Wait,
Sure.
Alan Tudyk.
I have no.
Tudyk.
I didn't even know he had a voice.
He's the voice of Hey Hey. I love this even more now that I know his face. I don't know what it is about Hey Hey. He's just so freaking cute.
For no. Whose sidekick was Hey Hey?
I picked two. I had Mushu and I had Hey Hey, and we just
Yeah.
went with, like we
And-
ran off.
Oh,
With
you're so cute. Okay. Wow.
I know.
Damn.
Blame January.
Okay.
Who's up next? I
You are.
already did mine. Tell me you don't pay attention to me.
Was it on the card?
But oh, wicked,
kidding.
wicked. Ashley, who's your sidekick, Ashley?
Are you ready?
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. Doug.
Oh, that
Doug.
was a good choice. Yeah.
Doug.
Who?
With a U, just the U. Doug.
Mm-hmm.
Is that from Cars?
Oh.
No.
No.
Oh, from Up.
From
No,
Up.
I think that's the doggy,
Yeah.
right?
He's a Bubba.
Yeah.
He's
He's so funny. You know what? I like your sidekick.
He's a good dog. He's a good sidekick.
Oh, you gonna cry?
I'm gonna cry.
Do it in the shower, Ashley.
Yeah.
Who's making you sad?
Doug.
I'm gonna punch Doug right in the face when I see him next time.
He's a good boy.
Natalie, who do you got?
Yo, you're not gonna go?
He picked Olaf, dude.
No, she's giving me a hard time. She's giving me a hard time. So I'm giving
Goodness.
her a hard time.
Okay.
The anticipation.
It's going to be the most epic one.
It's just hard because
She's had a whole week to think about this and think this one up.
If I can have
Yeah.
a second one like January did, I'd pick Archimedes
Who's Archimedes?
from the Sword and Stone.
you guys are just breaking all the
Yeah.
rules.
Sorcerer's
Yeah.
Stone.
I don't know
Yeah.
what I picked
He
one.
was Merlin's owl.
I followed the rules. Natalie has
He's a
been on the
feisty little
question for the
bugger.
most amount of time. Still giving
Look
it
him
some
up.
thinks.
That's my face. That's just my angry
You know
face.
who I liked from Up? I liked Kevin.
Kevin.
Every time I see him in Animal Kingdom, he just makes me happy.
Kevin gives
Just
joy.
gives joy.
That's what he's there for.
Natalie, give me some joy. answer this damn question.
You want some Joy?
This is the slowest rapid fire question ever. It's a 10-minute rapid fire.
All right.
I
So
love you.
my favorite sidekick, I would definitely have to go with Genie from Aladdin.
Okay.
He's definitely.
What
a
about
fave.
Genie makes him your favorite?
First off, he's all powerful. He's a beast, but he also like really loved Aladdin, and he tried to guide him and try to give him good advice. And even when he thought Aladdin was going to be selfish, he was still there for him, ready to grant him his selfish wish happily. And then he was surprised.
He's bound by magical
I don't think he was
law.
happy about the selfish wish.
Yeah.
He seemed a little sad.
Yeah.
Well,
But
you don't recall. We can watch it at the end when everything is settling down. He's ready to do it. He's like, oh, and here comes, and then his jaw literally drops because
Surprised, caught off guard. That
that's
greedy little
right,
bastard
because
came through.
Aladdin has been a selfish asshole like
Yeah.
the whole movie.
Mhm.
So we see some growth and he gets to enjoy his freedom. And now I have a free Genie friend, and we can hang out and do whatever we want.
Word. I think I'll leave you with this, Natalie. Is Aladdin set in a post-apocalyptic future?
Wow.
There's a theory behind that. We'll save it for the next podcast. But I see January's head rolling through there. But there is definitely a theory about Aladdin being set in a post-apocalyptic future. And on that note,
As a sidebar,
are you-
Alec Tudyk was the voice of Valentino in Wish.
okay,
Seemed important.
Who is
Valentino. I love
That is-
how
that's-
all the sidekicks, you love our animals. They're
Yeah.
so cute.
Valentino's adorable. I love him.
all right, folks. Let's
Are you done with this train wreck?
Yeah, I'm.
Oh, so that was.
I'm going to take some ibuprofen. All right, I'm gonna go cry in the shower like a man. All right, I love you all. Hit that record.
You'll feel better.
Yeah, I did my best.
And that wraps up another magical episode of the Dank Pod. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Find us on Instagram at the Dank Pod and send any questions, comments, or suggestions to thedankpod@gmail.com. We hope you enjoyed our chats and Disney Adult takes on Walt Disney World. Remember, even as adults, we're all just kids at heart when it comes to the magic of Disney. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay dank.